Alrighty then, let's do a final recap of the full spoiler for Ixalan. Basically, all applications for all formats, and mainly just discussing like the stuff that the cards that I haven't like touched on like before, the previous two parts, plus basically what to do with the whole set as a whole. Doesn't sound like all that's inspiring, but what else? So Axis is interesting, but probably not for normal constructed formats like UDH Commander, Highlander. Sure, it could be a thing. Uh, could be potentially something interesting for approach decks, but I doubt it. Jace is interesting just because the free mana Planeswalker is basically it. But I don't know, I'm a bit skeptical. I would be pretty glad to be wrong about him. I would definitely be glad to be wrong there. What else? I don't think we saw that scavenger before, so okay, first off, it's free to for free, and then enters or attacks, makes a target card from graveyard. If it was a creature, gains 2 life. Non-creature, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is not quite a scavenger nose, that's for sure, but I still like the card, because it has an immediate effect. I mean, it comes in, it does its thing, and yeah, I mean, it's really not quite scams in this, but I think it's still strong, and basically because of cards like this and a bunch of others, I don't think gift decks will actually be all that potent because there's so many things that on purpose or incrementally actually hate on that deck, so yeah. One deck that I would advise probably not to play. Even though in your local metagame without cards like this you could be quite successful with it, but still. Right. What else new? Oh yeah, the sword point diplomacy. 3 mana just reveal the top 3, where you should lose cards, put it into your hand unless opponent pays free. Well, actually for part deck, for an aggressive deck, I actually think it's okay. It's a bit sad, it kind of reminds me of Brobeat and all that stuff, where your opponent gets to choose. But yeah, if you have some reach, some burn spells in your deck, like lightning strikes and such, then yeah, maybe it will be potent. Not sure if I would play it main deck, maybe like as a one-off. Alright, this weird fish. I remember it was actually something interesting. Oh yeah, and this red spell next to it. Right, the fishy. So 6 for 7. Better be something interesting. Okay, so it basically halves their library when it attacks. It doesn't even have to connect. Uh, Probably just commander material. I don't see it anywhere else. But yeah, limited might still be a thing, although if you get to 7 and you attack with 6/6, eh, hard to say, hard to say. I think Mill has some support, but not that much in this set, so hard to say. Oh yeah, this is the Hammer of Bogredon kind of thing. Yeah, I think it will be viable. Might do some waves. It's not 3 speed, but it's extra burn spell that you can actually get back. Some grind the games against control where you just need to close out the game somehow. Yeah, I could totally see it. The Siren is cool like that, it's actually a pirate as well, so yeah, it's a good one drop for the pirate deck too. Don't forget that Kurosef is a pirate, but I think pretty much everybody knows that by now. What else is new? Well, pirate's gonna be a thing, and initially I thought that it would be like blue, black, and black, red, but I actually think you can pull off Grixis build relatively easy. I think the mana is gonna be good enough for that. What else kind of strikes me? Some general thoughts. Because that I haven't talked about before. Mm, yeah, I'm not sure if, I think there was a new one. So you have a O3 for 2. Okay, it explores. What it basically does is that if subject is land, you draw it. If it's not, then put that card back and you put a counter on this, so this becomes a 1/4. So you basically try to loot for lands. Um, I don't know. Probably a decent limited card, but I would much rather prefer if it wasn't the lens, then you can put it on the bottom. This way the card would actually do what I want it to do. At least for limited. Still probably decent for limited. A bit sad that we have like this uncommon 5 mana in Lightning Helix in black. It's a bit sad, but you'd still play it in limited. I really like this Bonnet Horcrux. So the red is really freaking strong for limited in this set. Traditional red is a good place to be in limited and during the sealed prairies. So yeah, and this is no exception. You get some big dinos. Dinos actually can be sped up with various specific monitors. That's pretty cool. Um, and then you have this bump on the it's uncommon, and then on the trample dino that could be a really sick combination. Verdant Rebirth. So 2 mana instant. When it dies, return it to your hand. Draw a card. Yeah. It said that it's in green, but then again, you do wanna, I guess, return back those 5+ so that you can continue pressuring. Fury Cannonade is really important. So it basically replaces Kozilek's return, and I think it will play a pretty big role relatively early in the meta, but it's non-pirate, so it can't hit pirates. Okay, but what can it hit that's small? Well, I guess if people still gonna play Monorat, that's a good thing to have. What else was it? Zombies are dead. Mardu is gonna be weekends. Okay, Vamps and Merfolks, if that's a thing. Right. Oh yeah, actually, it's gonna be at best in the sideboard of actually Pirate Deck. Yeah, that's for sure. We have Captain Skull, so for free money gets returned Vamp Dino and Merfolk, perhaps. Or Pirates. Yeah. I think in Limited this is a huge bomb. I think in Limited that's a huge bomb. If you get to return 2 or 3 creatures, I'm not even talking about 4. That's pretty sick. You won't get synergies put in those value mid-range control-ish decks. Oh goodness, this will be pretty ridiculous. The Glorifier actually will be quite okay. In Limited, I think one of the better uncommons in white. Well, okay, you'll have to pay to life for each activation, but it's not like you'll have to do it every time. You won't have to do it every turn. And then Vamps have a lot of life gains, so that's a thing. Really like that they reprinted the Bright Reprisal back from the days. Well, nowadays it's not as good, but still quite alright for Unlimited. I should say. Okay, so this is at least a Mind Trot. So 3 mana, so 3 discard 2. But if you attack with something this turn, you also get kind of like a Lotus Petal. Yeah, I dig it. I could see it being played and constructed in sideboards. Quite see that. Okay, a lot of 1s and 2s for various decks. Um, that's actually an interesting 2-drops. Secret Square. Okay, so if it's land, you get to draw it. Otherwise, it's a 2/3 for 2. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh yeah, the Inspiring Cleric will be in the sideboard of all them decks and not just Vamp decks. I think uh, I might be playing it as a couple of in the sideboard of Approach deck. Basically, any control with white like will play it because it's kind of like Erishin Cleric, which was 2-mana 1/3 comes in gain 3. This has better stats, gains more life, it gains 1 mana more. But then again, it can go into those tribal decks. Uh, really, one of my favorite cards, I think, accidentally, somehow. Oh yeah, Martin, you yourself already told that like that's his favorite card. This charging monsters are kind of like reality smasher at uncommon. But yeah, it might be actually a construct disable considering the fact that you can uh, speed up those dinos with all those monogarchs, so that's going to be quite crucial. Rolling Roar, um, it's free money instantly, so it totally pumps them for +1/+1, but you get to untap them. Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good combat trick. I think it will be used much more often as a combat trick, defensively rather than offensively. The Tempest Cooler is so ridiculous. One of the better mid-game creatures in Merfolks, I think, because it allows you to connect with your whole team. I think if all these turbo decks will actually see this amount of play, this will be kind of like format defining card. Well, if Merfolk will be a deck, so yeah, this Merfolk will be a format defining card, the Tempest Caller, because it's just so powerful, I think. Allowing you to get through with the team, it's just ridiculous. Having this on a stick with fine cost and fine stats and this tribal creature type, yeah, it was crazy. Raider's Wake kind of speaks to me as a build around card, but I have my doubts. I hope it will actually spawn some creativity and people building something around it. Maybe not completely centric around the card, but something that will actually use its potential. It's not quite direct or affliction, but it's still quite good. Makeshift munitions might secretly be a card that's not as valuable for standards as for eternal formats and your singleton formats of the like. We don't really have that many zero-mana artifacts anymore, so you can't really sharpshoot your opponents like that with this playing. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it will be featured in some Grixis Colossus decks, but then again, do you really want something like that? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. As a weird Seal of Fire kind of thing. What else speaks to me? Not really a big fan of like Slicing Twain. That's one thing. A bit overcosted to me, even though it replaces itself. What's then? Quite a few dinos that might speak to you as a constructed card are pretty much not a constructed card. For example, I don't think I want the Hedgelink in the standard version of the deck. For instance, just doesn't seem fit. Yeah, probably one of the better green uncommons in the set will be this Logworth Walker. There are quite a few uncommon and common explorer cards, and if you manage to trigger it once, it pretty much has done its job. Yes. So you basically have 3 playable sets of 1-drops for Bam deck, including this Sky Marcher. Maybe don't play 4 Sky Marcher, but like 2, so you have 10 1-drops placed. It should be enough. Should be enough. And probably that will be the average amount. I think it's fine, just because of the flying. Just because that keyword. So that it once you get to pump it somehow, then it contains all those flying pirates as well, like this aerialist. I think will be played in those decks. Actually, rich creatures will be quite in demand for limited, and everything that deals specifically with flyers might be even main deckable as a one-off in sealed and sometimes in draft, because favorable wins and got an extra incentive for that. And then you have like extra flyers in white and so forth. So yeah, I think the Adzukin Archer will be a very relevant creature. Sadly though, it will only hit the 1 toughness creature, but that's still good, and it's a good blocker by itself. Bishop Soldier is going to be very relevant. One of the defining 2-drops for the Vamp's limited archetype. I feel like really sad to see cancel again. I would rather see pretty much any other 3-mana counter spell instead of cancel. I'm just sick of it. Like, seeing it every time. The Split Firebrand will be also one of the better common 2-drops. I feel like it's still useful in the late game. I haven't really noticed any enchant lands. Maybe I missed something, so this untapped land guy is just not really that exciting. But when it comes to speeding up those 7 drops, of which this deck has plenty of, I think you'd still play it. This weird 1-drops with 8 mana abilities, well, I think they're okay because of the keywords. I mean, the evasion or first strike is going to be quite relevant, so yeah, I think it's alright. One with the Wind will be a very, very annoying card to play against. It's just, I mean, removal in this set does exist, and not all of it is uh, a lot of mana, but yeah, you'd hate that card. I don't think Dive Down will be a high pick in Limited. Doesn't even give like attack boost, so probably not worth it. Hate seeing like stuff like Demystify, even though I like having answers to enchantments. This set does have a few known ones, like this one with the Wind, but just the card that answers it is really annoying. I would much rather have, 3 mana, destroy enchantment, draw a card, that kind of thing. It would justify sideboarding those. Well, arrays did see even constructed play to answer stuff like Jeskai Ascendancy, for example. And there were a few other annoying things. But still, it's a different story. Because Terrace Block was still around, so you had enchantment creatures and stuff still around in that standard. Uh, but yeah, I really like the Venom Fleet Cutthroat. There was something like that in Dissension, perhaps? Or was it Ravnica City of Guilds? No, it was Orzhov, so it was Guild Pact, I think. Oh, well, anyway, in that block. In the original Ravnica block. So yeah, that card was quite playable. I think it was a 2-2 for free. But this has also like a relevant creature type. Yeah, I think it would be one of the better black commons of the set for limited. Because really like the Exile Escaper. Of course, it's a Grizzly Bear and it's a good mana sink. Because it's also only boosts, like, because it gives also trample. I think that mana sink ability is really, really relevant. The Headstrong Brute, also like one of the better red commons for aggressive decks. Ixalan is good to see, though. There's a lot of, like, 2/2s, free freeze and stuff like that. So I think it's much less, much weaker in this set than in some others, but it's still quite alright. Shaper Apprentice, also one of the better blue commons, I think. Watch out for those. So yeah, everything that specifically deals with one-toughness creatures, any abilities or spells, I think that will be quite relevant because of merfolks like this and some other pirates, for instance, and occasionally some vampires, because a few spells create 1/1 tokens, so that's a thing. So watch out for those. I mean, you probably want to play some of those removals or cards with abilities that deal with one toughness creatures. Yeah, the deep root warrior is also pretty good. Yeah, it looks like not only all those tribals that they're trying to push in this set, there will be potential and possibly viable in standard, but all of them could make up for a very powerful limited deck. And each archetype is quite deep, and you can draft it different ways. I think one of the more interesting themes of this set would be like, how do you draft a non-tribal deck? If something is just there. So you can possibly just draft some skies or some red green beats. But can you actually not focus on the tribal synergies and still end up with a serviceable draft deck? Probably can. I don't think I would ever pick the Queen's Agent, only if I really need another vamp for the synergies. It just looks so bad. I wonder why they made this card. It's just terrible. I mean, no, it's just severely overpriced. It's 5 mana? I'll accept it, but no. Oh yeah, the Jordan Knight is really good. So free flyer for 4 in the right deck. It's really great. And it's a common. So also I think one of the stronger cards in limited. I don't think that running ground will be that good. The format seems to be quite aggressive. 4 mana for this kind of card is just not what I want. I mean, it's a good effect, but it does help with the vehicles though. But so does pretty much any decent instant speed removal. I don't know, not super happy about it. Okay, so Pounce is basically a prey upon for 1 mana more and instant incisive sorcery. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. I think that's serviceable. Pierce Interdiction. It's arrest for 4 that gains its life, but it's still a command, so yeah. Well, dinos are a threat and having decent common answers to them is quite alright, plus a couple extra life won't be extra. A lot of the time in this format, which is really aggressive, I think. Mark of the Vampire is technically a reprint from, what, Old Zendikar, I think? Yeah, it was quite alright there, and probably gonna be quite decent here. Especially on a flyer. That would be just game ending most of the time, I think. Jingling. Yeah, having a looter is great a lot of the time, but the format is pretty fast, so you have to justify running this creature in your deck, so you should have a lot of defensive power, a lot of removal, and some life gain probably as well, one way or another. Oh yeah, there is actually Ancient Lands that ramps you. That's pretty good for this limited, for standard, etc. So the draw that untaps land is actually a bit better than it may seem because of cards like that. Because Herzor, it's a dino, and even without the creature type, it would be probably good. Decent card for limited, I mean. Lingers the Wake is not a constructed card, but very serviceable limited one. I think there are enough of it that comes into play abilities, at least those explorers. So yeah, the Science Ruse is going to be quite alright for limited. Even better than just a ride, but I don't see it in the standard version of the archetype for this rival. Starfleet Primancer is actually better than it seems. It's not quite like Flame Tank, it's not like Javeliner, the one from Amonkhet, I believe, the one that's deal damage equal to number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. But it's still alright. It's much easier to activate and draft around. You don't have to connect with that creature that turn and just to attack. So if there's some annoying flyer with toughness 2, you could actually suicide in some small creature just to get that trigger. I'm not sure how I feel about this Jungle Delver. It's a decent mana sink. It's a 1-drop from Merfolk, which is crucial. Yeah, I guess you'll play it, but I'm just not too high on it. I think it's one of those cards that might not make the cut in the Merfolk deck, but it could be very well run. Cards like this in the past were okay. I don't know. It does make cards like Jade Guardian better, just hexproof Merfolk Shaman there. The counters will be relevant. Really hate seeing Spreading Rot. Come on, 5 mana land destruction spell, come on. That's just disgusting to see such a card existing, really. Sarah is gonna be quite alright. If you hit the land with this thing, it's not gonna be a tragedy, I think. It's on the dicey level, the dicey side of things. But yeah, if you get lucky and, win the flip, let's put it this way, So free flyer for free, it's quite alright. It's quite alright, I'll take it. Uh, Actually, I quite like this Shortkeeper, this trial bite. It's a decent blocker for control decks, and later this is just a refill for free, which is quite a lot to be fair, out of just this one card. I played in control decks too. It's gonna be hard to actually build a traditional control deck in this format. I haven't seen that many during what was that basically luring. So this is what we get essentially. This is not the Zandy card, this is more of a luring kind of set. Uh, with regards to limited atmosphere. Reaver Herald's Boon. So we put a one counter and on one creature and another counter on a merfolk. That's pretty good. I'll say such an instant for just 2 mana. That's very good. There was some kind of blessing for green and the white instant in the original Ravnica, where you could just spread some pumps across 3 creatures, but without any creature type limitations. But then it wasn't counters. So yeah, actually quite like this combat trick. Combat will be very tricky, I feel. Especially Buckling is also another functional reprint. Also pretty good, better than it seems. Ancient Brontodon, okay, it's 8 mana, but you do have a lot of ramp and mana dorks for dinos in this set, so it's not unrealistic to actually be playing this dude. It's not unrealistic. Would I want Sunrise Seeker in my deck? Well, that's a good question. It doesn't have any creature types that you care about. It does explore. So you try to fish for a land. I think it's a typical filler. Not really excited about that card. You will play it if you just run out of playables, I think. Might be better in practice, but so far that kind of card doesn't speak to me. Slash Talon's good. Windstrider a bit worse for this set than some others, but it is a merfolk though. There is that. Really like the Ceratops. Gonna be pretty solid pick. What else is striking my eye? Skyblade. Well, yeah, good limited to drop for vamps. I would prefer it being a free one. That's that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask. What I would prefer it to be. I think if it would be like double white and 2/3 or 2/2, yeah, 2/2 will probably be better. It seems. Perhaps the blocking capacity will be much more relevant for 2-drop in the vamp stack. Yeah, this Merfolk is gonna be gas. Also one of the higher picks for Merfolks, I think. And this Water Trap Wither. Oh, the Sculptor is gonna be really insane, I think. Just for 1 mana that can impact on an instant. This will be ugly. This will definitely be quite ugly. Not excited about Brazen Buccaneers, so never in my mind overcoasted Explore card. So I could change my opinion, but If I understand it correctly, yeah, it doesn't seem that great. Which is sad news for the design and team and people who made the set. That they probably wanted to explore to be good, but I don't think it's gonna be that good. It's kind of like Scry in a way. Okay, but let's imagine we do win the flip, and it's a 3-3 haste for 4, which is okay, I guess. Right, maybe it's not that bad as I think. The hammer skull is insane. You get a tapper with good stats, technically. That's ridiculous. Okay, with Sculptor you have to return a creature, but this guy like is unblockable. You do have a lot of Counterplay triggers in Miracles too, like the one that taps their whole team, or this one above. Yeah, actually Merfolk seems to be the archetype I want to like draft or open in the at the pre-release the most. Looks like a very deep and very tempo oriented and very efficient archetype. Yeah, looks like it's gonna be my favorite, not the Vamps. I like tempo. And Merfolk seem to have like a lot of crazy comments and uncommons. You can basically at the pre-release and then release drafts get a deck that will be much better with Arthurs than some deck with a bunch of rares in it. That's the impression that I get. Opt is weird. Opt actually might be better for Modern Storm than for standard decks. Uh, don't really have that many combo decks that want it. In approach decks, I don't think you really need it because cycling is just better because you want flexibility. At some point you will cycle to the approach anyway, so I don't think it's that good. Or I think it's just for some weird combo decks. Control doesn't want it. Tempo probably doesn't want it. I don't know where it will end up, really. Just as interesting. The 1/7 Altizor is going to be more playable than you think. Very aggressive format. If you're looking for a mid-range controllers deck that is not focused on any creature type, then you're actually looking at this 1/7 as one of the things that will glue things together for your deck. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, there are 3 Dino Manadorics in the set. So this Kinjalis color, and then one in red, one in green. There's definitely one in red, and I think there is one more beyond that. And Prosperous Pair is also like, probably another pick you're looking at if you're willing to draft something mid-rangey that's not tribal. Because it's a solid like blocker / trader, and then it can help you ramp into some really good answer to the board. And Friendly Fire is pricey, but you'll still play it because it's instant and it's 1 mana symbol in its cost, and it can go face. So that's it. Spell Piercing Constructed will actually benefit more tempo and mid-range decks than actual control decks. Because it's a tempo counterspell. And it will make things for approach decks or blue-black or whatever control more tougher. Since before they only had negate on the spell, and now they have a card that's actually countering Fumigates and Approach as well, just for 1 mana. But also counters Planeswalkers, so yeah. Like it could counter Gideon, which might just be enough for you sometimes to stay in the game if I answer. Yeah, other Wolf Planeswalkers in this set, I just select the red white one way more than the other two. The other two are still fine, but they're not really broken, and I think that the red white is just broken. Is there any multicolor that I haven't talked to you about last time? I don't think so. And not among artifacts. I don't think. Well, it's just some commons that are not particularly interesting. All I want to point out is that Paradex will play a few vehicles, like the Caravel and Flagship, probably. That's all. There's a chance the Schooner might see constructed play. I believe in that. Might be wrong, but I think it has potential. Might not speak out to you. Okay, filtering. Let's run on basic. And then get to search for basic. So it's kind of like a good quarter for standards. Which is quite alright. Well, but you don't need it in standards, really. And modern doesn't actually need another technically worse ghost quarter. So that's kind of weird why they brought in something like this. Did they think that ancient lands, I mean those auras that double the mana off of those lands will actually impact the standard so much or limited? It's really weird. But yeah, just because of Catacomb Summit, Fastlands, and Territory, I think he can pull off Grixis Purge and be merry about that. I guess one more thing to point out here is that there are some decent mana stats and I don't know. Actually, I'm mixing that up with Iconic Masters. In here, you just have this Chalice, which is mediocre. Not the best. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, you get the Pillar. You get the Pillar, but it's only for creatures, which is fine, I guess. I'm not gonna count the Compass. That's very clunky for them to. The standard might do something. Green, white, or Nyram will be probably still around. Is that it? 2 mana stones? Technically. Yeah. We do have some land auras. Not that much of land search, actually. Okay, so you can't really go big unless you are in dinos. That's the lesson here. Okay, do we have actually free creatures that discount for dinos in this set? Let's inspect that. Okay, you have the tribe after some rambling. I think there were some other managers. Okay, you have the Draugr. It does benefit from dinos. So yeah, I guess technically you have free managers for dinos. I think you'd probably still play this guy, like without dinos. Like in Merfolks maybe, where we have like some good mana sinks to justify the ramp. It just gives any colors, so that's, and for anything. That's the crucial part here. Yep, and the Huntmaster, right. technically 3 monetary 3 dinos. No man, if you get to the spine back early enough, yeah, things will get out of hand very quickly. Alright. Final few thoughts about standard. Well, people will definitely try out this tribal decks, that's for sure. But I think some kind of just get approach that will probably be the deck that I would bet on in this new season at the beginning. Because it pretty much has everything, and it can answer mono red as well. You do lose a few things, but I mean, gain forward from Less Lance was kind of big, but then again, the Magma Spray is gonna help the deck quite a bit as well. Jigger Gunslide and upgrade, so it's yet to be seen. Yep. What else? So now that I looked at the full spoiler, I have a hard time picturing Mardu vehicles. People were saying something about some free drop that gives you a treasure, so you can activate your mana base and so forth. Was it the Slendery Storm thing? Yeah, only when it attacks? No, I suppose they spoke about something else. Yeah, I really just don't see how you can still be playing like Mardu unless it's some weird pirate decks perhaps, or something like that. And that's a shame, really. People will probably figure out something. I think the deck is still playable, just not that amazing. Oh yeah, I have this double red goblin that gives you a treasure. That's a double red. And deck that wants to start with tool crafts. Yeah, things will be rough. Things will be rough. Oh yeah, do play the dual shots main deck. They will have a lot of targets, and just like finishing off like some creature that you blocked, or they blocked with very main deckable in red. Another demolish, I don't know why. Well, it does kill like vehicles, which could be very annoying. I'll give them that. But I'd want to see actually a few more answers to those vehicles. A few better answers. There are some. So you might be forced to actually main deck Spell Pierce, just to not randomly get wrecked by those vehicles. Literally and figuratively. Right, well, I think I'll be dedicating another recording to Standard in the coming couple of weeks after I have, figured more things out in terms of how the season probably will look like. Till later, folks.